James Bond is a fictional spy created by the British journalist and novelist Ian Fleming in 1953. He is the protagonist of the James Bond series of novels, films, comics, and video games. Fleming wrote 12 Bond novels and 2 short story collections. His final 2 books, The Man with the Golden Gun, 1965, and Octopussy and the Living Daylights, 1966, were published posthumously. The character is a Secret Intelligence Service agent, code number 007, residing in London but active internationally. Bond was a composite character who was based on a number of commandos whom Fleming knew during his service in the Naval Intelligence Division during the Second World War, to whom Fleming added his own style and a number of his own tastes. Fleming claimed that Bond's name was appropriated from the American ornithologist of the same name. However, new reports have emerged claiming Fleming may have got the name from a Welsh agent he served with, one James Bond. Bond has a number of consistent character traits which run throughout the books, including an enjoyment of cars, a love of food, alcohol, and lovemaking, and a smoking habit of 60 custom-made cigarettes a day. Since Fleming's death in August 1964, there have been other authorized writers of Bond material, including John Gardner, who wrote 14 novels and 2 novelizations, and Raymond Benson, who wrote 6 novels, 3 novelizations, and 3 short stories. There have also been other authors who wrote 1 book each: Kingsley Amis, under the pseudonym Robert Markham, Sebastian Faulks, Jeffrey Deaver, William Boyd, and Anthony Horowitz. Additionally, a series of novels based on Bond's youth. Young Bond was written by Charlie Higson. As a spin-off from the original literary work, there was a television adaptation of the first novel, Casino Royale, in which Bond was depicted as an American agent. A comic strip series also ran in the Daily Express newspaper. There have been 26 Bond films. 7 actors have played Bond in these films. James Bond. Origins of the name. On the morning of February 17, 1952, Ian Fleming started writing what would become his first book, Casino Royale, at his Goldeneye estate in Jamaica. He typed out 2,000 words in the morning, directly from his own experiences and imagination, and finished work on the manuscript in just over a month, completing it on 18 March 1952. Fleming took the name for his character from that of the American ornithologist James Bond, a Caribbean bird expert and author of the definitive field guide Birds of the West Indies. Fleming, a keen birdwatcher himself, had a copy of Bond's guide, and he later explained to the ornithologist's wife that it struck me that this brief, unromantic, Anglo-Saxon, and yet very masculine name was just what I needed, and so a second James Bond was born. James Bond character inspirations. During the Second World War, Fleming was the personal assistant to the director of the Naval Intelligence Division, Admiral John Godfrey. He reached the rank of commander, a rank he subsequently gave to his fictional creation, and was the planner for Special Operations Unit 30th Assault Unit. Many of Bond's tastes and traits were Fleming's own, including sharing the same golf handicap, the taste for scrambled eggs, and using the same brand of toiletries. Bond's tastes are also often taken from Fleming's, as was his behavior, with Bond's love of golf and gambling mirroring his creators. Fleming used the experiences of his espionage career and other aspects of his life as inspiration when writing, including using names of school friends, acquaintances, relatives, and lovers throughout his books. Bond's cigarettes were also the same as Fleming's, who had been buying his custom-made by Moreland since the 1930s. Fleming added the 3 gold bands on the filter during the war to mirror his naval commander's rank. On average, Bond smokes 60 cigarettes a day, although he cut back to around 25 a day after his visit to a health farm in Thunderball. Fleming himself smoked up to 80 cigarettes a day. Apart from imbuing Bond with his own tastes, Fleming based his fictional creation on a number of individuals he came across during his time in intelligence, admitting that Bond was a compound of all the secret agents and commando types I met during the war.
Mr. Fleming, how does an author tackle the problem of selecting a name for the hero of his stories?
Well, it isn't only the hero. I mean, I generally pick up names just driving through the countryside, through villages and so on. You'll see an interesting name over a tobacconist or chemist or something of that sort in any country in the world. But when I started to write these books in 1952, I wanted to find a name which wouldn't have any of this romantic overtones like Peregrine Carruthers or whatever it might be. I wanted a really flat, quiet name. And one of my Bibles out here is James Bond's Birds of the West Indies, which is a very famous ornithological book indeed. And I thought, well, now, James Bond, now that's a pretty quiet name. And so I simply stole it and used it.
Since Fleming's death in 1964, 8 other authors have written authorized Bond novels or novelizations: Kingsley Amis, Christopher Wood, John Gardner, Raymond Benson, Sebastian Faulks, Jeffrey Deaver, William Boyd and Anthony Horowitz. The latest novel is Forever and a Day by Anthony Horowitz, published in May 2018. Additionally, Charlie Higson wrote a series on a young James Bond, and Kate Westbrook wrote 3 novels based on the diaries of a recurring series character, Moneypenny. The character has also been adapted for television, radio, comic strip, video games, and film. The films are the longest continually running film series of all time and have grossed over $7 billion in total, making it the 6th highest grossing film series to date, which started in 1962 with Drive No, starring Sean Connery as Bond. As of 2020, there have been 24 films in the Eon production series. The most recent Bond film, Spectre, 2015, stars Daniel Craig in his 4th portrayal of Bond. He is the 6th actor to play Bond in the Eon series. There have also been 2 independent productions of Bond films, Casino Royale, a 1967 spoof, and Never Say Never Again, a 1983 remake of an earlier Eon-produced film, Thunderball. In 2015, the series was estimated to be worth $20 billion, making James Bond one of the highest-grossing media franchises of all time. The Bond films are renowned for a number of features, including the musical accompaniment, with the theme songs having received Academy Award nominations on several occasions, and 2 wins. Other important elements which run through most of the films include Bond's cars, his guns, and the gadgets with which he is supplied by Branch. The films are also noted for Bond's relationships with various women, who are sometimes referred to as Bond girls.